All right, you're on with Murph Workout Radio. We have a gentleman who just sat down at our desk with a ginormous grit logo across his chest. Sir, tell us who you are and what you're about.
Hey man, I'm Antonio with Grit OCR, one of the co-founders. Crazy day, man.
Oh, dude, it's been a crazy day. We've interviewed some of your, what do we want to call them? Prisoners?
Prisoners? I don't know.
I'm not quite sure.
I feel like we're among royalty, actually. Everybody knows Antonio. Everybody's been saying such amazing things, literally, about Grit OCR.
So that's actually what I wanted to ask you guys. Like, how's the feedback been?
Everybody's like, he's up to the weight for no reason.
Yeah.
And then I jump in like, hey, Antonio's a big jerk. Yeah. That's basically the synopsis of a lot of the conversations we've been having.
Yeah.
So I've got to say, one of the big standouts that I've heard is a lot of the participants here, they're fans of OCR races. They've done a lot of obstacle course races. This is not new to them. And I'm asking them, and I hear a lot. I hear Spartan, Tough Mudder. I hear the these big giants that everybody's familiar with. And I'm asking why Grit OCR and what's really the difference. And what comes up time and again, it's such a unique race.
Yeah.
And not just for the physical aspect. More than one person has brought up the mental game of staying in it and moving forward was the biggest challenge of all. I mean, clearly obstacles are amazing, and I know you change them up every year. That's super cool that you keep it that fresh. We're big believers in that. And we're in the music world. We're all about discovery. Right. But can you tell us about that? How did you come up with Grit OCR? How long has it been around?
Yeah, so my wife and I decided we wanted to do a side project. We own another business. Murph and I have actually worked together a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
As side projects go, this is one hell of a quote-unquote side project at this point.
It's grown a lot.
Yeah.
So it started off as just a brand. We were just like, okay, let's make a name. And we called it Grit. And at first it was going to be a gym. And that was where we were running with it. And then that just didn't make sense to us. I wanted something that I could be passionate about.
Right.
That wasn't a burden.
Yeah.
That's something I would look forward to every day. And I think gyms over time, you kind of get burnt out if it's not your main thing, right? So we met Terry and Jenny with New Global Adventures. And on a whim, we just had a conversation. And I asked them, like, would you ever want to host an obstacle course race? Not thinking that I would ever host one myself.
Yeah.
And Jenny from New Global goes, yeah, you and me, we'll do it together.
That's amazing.
And I said, okay, just brushed it off, laying in bed that night. I was like, fuck, that actually makes sense.
Just out of a conversation.
That just makes sense. I'm like, it's something that I have all the resources to do. I have all the skills to do. I have all the support to do. I have an amazing set of friends and family. I have a support system with my other job. And it's something that I love. That's
something that we noted earlier, too. When I look around, not only do you see, I mean, people that are clearly, there's a lot of people in really good shape, but there's people of all different shape and sizes really going through this. And I see families. There's kids here. Some people brought their dogs and stuff. And there's just such a cool vibe at this place. It feels like family, and they're all strangers to me.
So that's what's crazy, man. I never want this to get big enough to the fact I couldn't go around and just talk to everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's so important to me that everybody has a good experience. And I want the bad and I want the good. I want people to tell me like, hey, like Thanksgiving dinner. Hey, the fucking cranberries sucked, but the turkey was amazing.
Right, exactly.
You know, I want to know everything because it's important to me, especially since I don't rely on this financially. I more rely on it, and this might sound corny, but spiritually.
Yeah.
That everybody had a good time. Because it would suck that I'm failing at something that I'm really not trying to profit from.
Right? I haven't, Antonio, I'm sorry to say, I haven't met anyone that's had a good time so far. They've all had a great time so far, or an amazing time, or an excellent time.
That's good,
We'll
man.
keep looking for that good time, though.
That's good. You know, when you were talking about the mental aspect of it and the physical aspect, I think with a lot of OCR right now, it's really catered to the lean, mean runner.
Yeah.
And that's great and all, but the world doesn't really work that way, right?
Right.
Like, you're going to get challenged in different ways.
Well, I was impressed. I'll tell you this. We had Jeremiah, who's a new listener, sitting down at the same table, and Jeremiah was telling us, hey, you know what? I was a #1 finisher at Spartan. That's a massive accomplishment.
Yeah.
Here today, his accomplishment was top 15, which is still remarkable. I mean, I don't even know how many people are out at this.
Yeah.
You could tell us, but for him to bring his skill set and for him to tell us, hey, dude, it wasn't just the physical. The physical is there. It was literally the mental that really tried to break me and that he had to persevere.
So I'll tell you what I want people to get out of this is I own a contracting business.
Right.
And I didn't go to college.
Right.
I jumped in. And the thing that separates successful people from people that are trying to get there is that when things get hard, you can do two things. You could say, I'm done, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. Or you could compose yourself, take a breath, and get through it. And I want people to have that moment on this course, and then they could relate that to the next thing in their life when maybe something's going on in their family, something's going on with one of their friends. Instead of just crumbling and letting yourself be a victim to all that, just compose yourself and get through it. And that's why we put in the puzzle this year. That's why we put in the slingshot. Learning things on the fly when you're tired and when everything's done. That's what I want people to get out of this. I don't care what their mile time is. I could care less. I don't care that they could deadlift. I just want them to be mentally and physically fit.
Antonio, we've heard about a number of obstacles so far today from participants, finishers, and the egg carry was a big standout. We've heard about the slingshot quite a bit.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about the puzzle?
Yeah, so that's actually my wife's creation.
Nice.
My wife really always wanted to do a puzzle, and we were a little reluctant because we didn't have enough of a following yet to put something out that I could take a gamble on whether people would like it or not.
Right.
But I think she came up with an incredible idea. I think she nailed it. It was a perfect puzzle. It's something that our 3-year-old was able to do.
Right.
He's a little bit, he's kind of a savant sort of when it comes to that stuff.
He's a smart 3-year-old.
He's a smart 3-year-old, but if my 3-year-old could do it, somebody could do it.
Right.
Anybody could do it. But it's really hard to do that when you're tired.
Yeah, let's put you through like miles of obstacles first and wear you down.
And 2 really hard obstacles back to back, which is a sandbag carry and then yoked, which is really heavy and really tiring.
And talk about the weather. I mean, this is beautiful, perfect Southern California day. There's not a cloud in the sky.
No.
It's high 70s right now. It's still early morning, but that heat, especially when you're moving, easily your body increases another 10, 15, maybe even 20 degrees, I'd argue.
Yep.
And to do that and still have to keep your mental game together on something like the puzzle.
That's the thing, man. That's the thing. We've had so many moments on the course just building it, which is the same thing. It's 100 degrees outside. And then your truck gets stuck in a ravine. Right. And it's just you and a few other guys. And it's the same thing. It's a puzzle, right? Like, how am I going to figure this out when I'm tired? I'm upset. I have a deadline, which is much like, crossing the finish line. What am I going to do? And I want people to have that moment on the course because those are real life moments. You're going to come through that in your life and you need to get through it.
Can you tell us a little bit about that process behind the scenes? When you're at the arguably the top of the game, you're Spartan, and you've got tens upon tens of thousands. If you enter Spartan, you kind of know what you're getting into. You go to Disneyland, you know the Matterhorn's going to be there, you know Splash Mountain, you know all these things. When you come to Great, you don't necessarily know that. You have some concept, but what process do you guys go through? You're obviously taking a risk every single year with everything you put out there, whether people are going to enjoy it or get it or not.
Yep.
What do you go through to create new obstacles?
A lot of internal turmoil. I mean, we spend a lot of time in bed at night staring at the ceiling, wondering if this shit is going to work.
Right.
And if people are going to hate it. It's a huge gamble, like you said. I just don't ever want to put people in a dangerous scenario.
Right.
I think Tough Mudder is an incredible race. It's my first race. We have Sean out here. They do things in a different way. They put you out of your comfort zone by putting you, 25 feet in the air, have you go underwater and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I want to put people in a dangerous place emotionally.
Right.
That there's no repercussion other than I failed or I suck or, hey, I fucking did it.
Right.
And that's how when we think about new obstacles, that's the process. It's never, I want to put you in a precarious scenario.
Right.
Physically. I want to put you in a precarious scenario mentally and make
I gotta say, by the way, you have an incredible team out here. I was talking with some of your paramedics, your first responders that are on site.
Yeah.
An incredible group of people that are here for the just in case.
I couldn't do it.
With this kind of heat out there, sometimes the heat alone will take somebody out besides the obstacle.
Well,
right?
I don't know, Murph, you were here. You weren't here in 2021, were you?
I was, yeah.
It was 107, 108.
Yeah.
At this time of the day.
They were shuttling people out in like paramedics like crazy. I remember I was still out on the course. I was making sure that like this one new timer that was running with me and Scully, he was going to be okay. Like I was like just sticking with him. And I remember I came back and And I remember you were actually like, Murph, are you okay? I'm like, dude, I'm fine. Like, don't worry about me. Like, go tend to all the other people that are like in the like paramedic tent and the ambulances and a bunch of other stuff. It was craziness.
People don't always realize that. We have listeners in 90 countries, but when you talk about Los Angeles, and there's that sort of outsider aspect of what is LA, what is Hollywood, you think of like 72 degrees all the time, right? Adam Carolla makes a joke about it. And really, when you get into these hills in the northern part of greater Los Angeles County, it is a bear. I mean, it's very common to hit triple digits out here.
Oh, yeah.
We're kind of fortunate. We got a nice breeze today.
Yeah.
But there's not a cloud in the sky. It's hot.
It's beautiful though. Like I've had some rough times out here. It's almost like it's so unpredictable. On year 2, we had our pre-registration at the mall, which is about 20 miles from here.
Right.
And my wife was doing that, and I was here, and it was Friday, the day before the race. And she calls me, and she's like, "Hey, how's everything going?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, how's everything going? There's a hurricane here. Like, winds are blowing, tents are blown over, obstacles are getting destroyed." And she's like, "It's 90 and sunny at the mall."
Wow. That's crazy.
So that's only 20-mile difference. Like, it's almost a different world back here.
It's got its own weather pattern, certainly.
I don't know if, like, you drive here,
Yeah.
and you don't expect this when you're coming up Placerita, right? Like, you come up that street, and you're like, where am I right now?
And by
Because
the
it's
way, the drive here, I got to say, is beautiful. I lived in LA most of my life.
Yeah.
I now live in the Pacific Northwest. But getting out, if you're an Angelino and you haven't been up to Santa Clarita, the drive to Grit OCR at East Walker Ranch is incredible.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, the event's amazing, but just before you even get here, like I said, you're in another world. You got your own weather pattern over here, and it's just super cool.
First time I came out here, I fell in love. So our partner Terry was like, "Hey, I have an idea of where we could host this," and he took us out here. And within an hour, I was like, "Yes, I can't imagine ever hosting anywhere else." Well, that being said, we will have other venues.
I was going to ask you, so what is next for Grid OCR?
So it's going to be more venues. You know, I think I love this place, and I've been able to make a lot out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be like the other big box races where you're doing the same thing over and over again at the same place.
Right.
And I think Spartan's been great about finding new locations and getting them. But I think there's a lot of other locations that could suit an event of our size that doesn't require all of the stipulations that a Spartan does. You know, Spartans have like 10,000 people for a weekend.
Yeah.
If I could get 2,000 people comfortable at a venue, there's a lot of places for us to go. So
I'm sorry to cut you off. One of the things I really enjoyed was, you have different waves that are going on. It just feels like, as we're talking with people all day long, we've been out here since early morning. We're running into people that have finished, and we have people that are still just starting, right?
Yeah.
That you have this really cool flow. It doesn't bog down. You always feel like you're with somebody, like there's definitely a vibe, but you don't feel like you're in just this, like a salmon, trying to get upstream through this herd, right?
Get into my event now. Get out.
Yeah, you can really enjoy the obstacles without being overwhelmed, because I've been to those OCRs where that happens, right?
Oh yeah. And you know what? Honestly, that's one of my biggest things is when I drive past an obstacle and I see that it's like 30 people there,
right?
Especially like a wall or something like that. It bothers me a little bit, but that's due to people's inability to like just get over it, right? Like they get scared, they get to the top, they try like multiple times or whatever.
Yeah.
We're not big enough right now to accommodate maybe 2,000 people with our obstacles, but we're getting there. I think that we have enough infrastructure that we could grow a little more and still be good, where we're not bogged down. My biggest thing is I want people to stay afterwards.
Right.
I don't want to kick them out. I don't want to turn and burn anybody. I want people to spend their whole day here. And
well, we see that happening right now.
Yeah.
You can hear like a lot of people cheering in the background, but we got as they cheer. Right on cue. Thank you, guys. We've got tons of amazing vendors out here, and not just vendors, because I've been to those too, where it's like, okay, clearly this is somebody making minimum wage that doesn't want to be here.
Right.
Everybody that I've run into has been super cool. They're very energized about whatever product they're representing.
It's small business supporting small business, which is great.
We made so many friends today. We as you know, Murph Workout Radio, we don't run commercials, but we've done some free promotion today for sure. But, the beer garden, the food vendors, and some EverPrep was over here.
Yeah.
Just an amazing selection. So there's all the reason to stick around. So whether you're coming out and running or coming out and supporting or whatever reason you're here, I could see this as being like a full day, a full weekend. And it's just super amazing to be a part of it. We want to thank you for allowing us to sponsor us and us co-sponsor you and everything back and forth. How do people find Grid OCR if they want to get involved and see when the next race is?
Yeah, so on Instagram, grid_OCR.
Okay.
On Facebook at Grid OCR. Our website, gridocr.com. And then we also try to post on all the normal race sites.
Right.
And honestly, like, I think it just happens organically, man.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want people to leave here and have such a good time that they just want to talk about it. I found myself doing that with Spartan, right? I would leave a Spartan race or a Tough Mudder and tell people immediately, like, I think you guys should try this. Like, I know a lot of other people know about this. It's kind of like a subsect or it's a weird subculture.
Yeah.
But I would promote it all the time, and people do that for us, and that's why, we're standing in this festival right now. It's really organic. We don't spend a lot of money in advertising.
Right.
We really don't. It's people like you guys that are supporting us. People like these huge gyms out here that are just bring 30 or 40 people that help us out. Like,
we've met some of those people. We had Rebel Fitness that cruised by, Weeple Army, which is just a community. LA Fangs. It's so many different, just like you said, organic people that just enjoy each other, enjoy pushing each other, self-improvement. I mean, just with that common mindset and everybody from different backgrounds, it's a beautiful thing to be out here today. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, the thing that's really amazed me about this race and amazes me about you, though, is that, like, I can interview all of these people and I'll say Antonio, one name, and they immediately know who I'm talking about. Like, you have an individual connection with each one of these freaking people.
That's the most important thing to me, man. That's the most important. I don't want them to ever think that the brand is the problem.
Right.
I want them to know that, like, if there's a mistake out there or something, that I'm going to take care of it, and that I have their back because I want them to have the best time.
No,
and I
that's
want to take
awesome.
personal responsibility for everything. Like, I made the boxes heavier this year, and they didn't hold up. I battle tested them as much as I thought I could, but they got pushed in a different way than I pushed them, and they just didn't work out. So it was an obstacle for the first time that we've never had to close down an obstacle ever. And I got to the point where I'm like, I don't know if these things are going to hold up. So I closed it. I don't want people to think that that's a Grid OCR problem. That's an Antonio problem. That's a me thing, right? Like, I want to take full responsibility over everything that goes wrong, and not everything that goes right, because most of the things that go right are done by other people here.
Yeah. But those people can come to you and say, hey, this happened, and you're going to take ownership responsibility of it to fix it, right? Like, and that's the relationship that you have with all of these people, which is amazing to me.
Joe is an inspiration to me. He's an icon in the sport, but when's the last time you had a conversation with Joe?
Never.
Right? Like, how do you get a hold of Joe?
We tried emailing Joe. He never emailed us back.
See, same thing. Same thing.
Call it out, Joe.
So, I mean, I'm not talking shit. The guy's got a lot on his plate, but I got to a point one day where I emailed him and I said, hey, buddy, I'm an aspiring OCR race director.
Yeah.
I have this. My first event had 600 people. My next event had 800.
Yep.
And I'm like, how do you get to that 4,000 mark? How do we keep this sport going? Because it's beneficial for both of us. Because if they do my event for the first time, they're going to do your event. So I'm out here putting boots on the ground, supporting the cause.
Yeah.
How do I help you support the cause? What can you tell me to do? Never. It was one of, like, I spent probably like 3 hours rereading and writing this email.
You got to admit, there's so much competition these days in this space, right? And
I don't think there is anymore, man. Like, especially in California on the West Coast.
Right.
It's us, Rugged Maniac, Tough Mudder, Spartan Race.
Did you see that through the pandemic that some of these guys went away? Because I feel like my perception is I was always bombarded. My email's still full of spam from this race, that race,
I could tell you the reason why a lot of these guys went away is because they don't do anything themselves.
Right.
They're a race director, but they're not a builder. They're not a web designer. They're not a promoter.
Right.
They don't do anything. So they're paying.
Admittedly, I've seen some of the stuff is really terrible out there. Even if you want to support the race, and you're trying to get through their website or whatever, it's almost like that's the first obstacle.
Right. And Terry and Jenny, they build all our website stuff, and I got to say, it's very easy. It flows really well. That should not be the first obstacle is signing up.
Right.
100%. And there shouldn't be an obstacle getting to the event too, or figuring out parking, or figuring out your bib number. Like, that should all be easy.
I noticed that on your website, by the way, because attending a lot of races, and that's the number one thing is, like, race day, you go, oh crap, like, how do we get there? Where are we supposed to go? Because you've been so hyped about the race, and you know the city it's in, and maybe you're flying in or whatever, and then it's this last minute stuff. So many websites out there, it's like, Oh, it's a scavenger hunt on the website of trying to figure out, okay, where do I even park? What do I do?
Yeah.
With gridocr.com, I noticed it was super simple to figure out what are the options, where do I go? I mean, it was like you just sort of hand-fed us. And for guys like me that are a little bit slow from time to time, I just found it from start to finish. It was just so well laid out and easy to get here.
Yeah, people still, get a little bit confused here and there, but we try to minimize that as much as possible because there's so much more on race day that they have to worry about, like fucking puzzles and eggs. Like, I don't want them to worry about parking and bib numbers. Like, that should all be easy, and that goes really well, dude. And our volunteers are just, it's unbelievable, man.
Yeah. You're talking about growing pains just a little bit. I was also interested because I see such a diversity, and I know that's kind of a buzzword these days, right? Everybody's talking about diversity, inclusion, and so equality. And I mean, you look around and it's literally like the United Nations over here, which is super cool. But also with the vendors, right? So when you're talking about growth, it takes money to create these events, to pay for the people that are keeping everyone safe and everything that we enjoy as we're here. And I see like such a spectrum. We've got, on one hand, I'm sitting next to C4 and Go Navy's over there recruiting people and doing a great job. And to my right, I literally have a startup. These guys at Brute Seltzer.
Brute Seltzer is
amazing guys.
And it's an amazing product, too.
They came over, and I was skeptical. I'm not a big seltzer drinker, and they're talking about how this is different as a geared to the fitness community. I'm like, dude, this stuff is spot on. So I've got guys that are literally broken ground today, and guys that have made it and are continuing to make it. How do you find these people? How do you get such a great assortment? And again, back on the diversity thing, just a cool salad, if you will, of vendors and people here.
I wish I could say that happened, like I planned that out, but it's just, I think if you put good vibes into the world, people with good vibes find you. So like the Navy, I go to a CrossFit gym, and one of the recruiters is at my gym, and we suffer every day together.
We met a guy at Santiago over there. Super guy.
Great,
super awesome dude.
So, like, the Navy came and sponsored our event, dude, and that was just because of
having a lot of fun out there under the sun. Don't forget that timing chip on your ankle is your beer ticket in the beer garden. We got under the bed burgers over there. We got some food and water over here by the finish line. But your timing chip on your ankle is your beer ticket in the beer garden. The free beer from the beer garden with that timing chip. You can always buy more.
We are back. This is Murph Workout Radio. We're talking with Antonio, founder of Grit OCR, and he's been sharing a lot with us. Antonio, we just had a little break allowing the announcer to do some things because we are live here at the event in beautiful East Walker Ranch, Santa Clarita, California, north side of LA. And please, sir, go on. This is an amazing event. We're talking about diversity and everybody
we're
here.
talking about diversity with the vendors. Honestly, it all happened completely organically. Every single one of these relationships here is, hey, I have a clothing company. I did your event. Do you mind if I come out as a vendor? Of course. Hey, EverPrep. I love their product in Santa Clarita. We reached out to them. We're like, hey, we have all these volunteers out there. They need food.
EverPrep, awesome. Christian came over. You fed us. I was like, give me the rest of the samples, bro. I was
so
in.
dude.
We don't run commercials on Murph Workout Radio, but if you bring me free tri-tip, then we'll talk about what I'll call a radio stinger that promotes your brand.
I'm seriously ready to move to Valencia just so I can go get that EverPrep because honey,
good,
pack
dude.
your bags.
So good, man, and just like it's just good people. Homegrown CBD.
Yeah.
Homegrown Relief is another guy that goes to one of the gyms I go to.
Right on.
And me and him have suffered so much together, dude. And one day he's like, I got the CBD company. I'm like, come out to my event. Here's how much it's going to cost me. I was like, $0.
Wow.
$0. I like you. You're a good dude. I know you have a good product. Come out and promote it.
So I'm hearing a lot of community, good vibes community. Let's bring the good people together.
It's just people support. Small business can't survive anymore without a little bit of help from friends and family. It just doesn't work.
Sure.
You need it.
Yeah.
You need it. Like, it's just the competition is too great out there. If you don't have somebody supporting you, and if I could make that connection for somebody, just that's one small connection at an event like this, it makes me so fucking happy. It makes me so happy to help somebody out and not profit off of that, like, and not turn it into a transaction.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, obviously some vendors sign up without knowing me. So they'll go on our website and pay for sponsorships, and we promote that too because it helps the event grow. But if you and I are a personal level and you're starting a business, and that's I hope they would do the same for me, and I know they would.
Antonio, we're so proud to be here, and I know some of these things when you talk about good vibes and stuff, they, people talk about it. Sometimes sounds cliche, but I'm going to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I feel it, I sense it. It's not just talk. And again, if you're out there, if you're an obstacle course racer, even if you're not, if you're looking for the first time, go check out gritocr.com. Get involved, follow these guys, come out to the race. It's gorgeous, it's amazing here. Antonio and all the rest are just super, super people. Antonio, and I know, look, we all got to pay our bills. Do you want to put in a plug for your other company? You're doing contracting as well?
What's funny is that Murph will attest to this. The stuff that Murph and I do is so specialized and so weird.
Yeah. You already have your people. We're not going to worry about that.
It awards me the ability to do this, but it's a different sect of people.
We're not going to worry about that. Listen, again, get out here to Grit OCR. Come meet Antonio. He's a great guy. Have a conversation. Go do the race. Come enjoy the beer garden. Enjoy the food, the vendors, the whole thing. Have an incredible day. You, your family, your dogs, whatever. and again, thank you so much. And thank you for allowing Murph Workout Radio to be here.
Dude.
Don't forget to download our app.
Guys, thank you so much.
Dude, not a problem.